Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. I'm your host, Dan, along with Andy. How are you doing, Andy?
I am good. How about you?
Up in the North Woods camping this weekend. I found a shelter here to step away for 45 minutes to do a podcast.
Nice.
Lovely weather. It's 89 and sunny. And today is episode number 35. We're in season 2, episode 35, and today is July 24th, 2021. We'll be going over sports, news, baseball, Olympics, concerts, music, album, review, the whole deal. We'll have full coverage here.
Yes.
So
before we get started, fire away.
So the trivia question for today is, what former Major League pitcher for the Twins was traded this week? What former Major League pitcher was involved in a trade? You know, the deadline is coming up, Andy. We've got some notable things. We'll mention that later in the show, but one in particular involved the former Twin. Name him. That's the question.
All right. I'm going to go, oops. I just hit the wrong button. There we go. Got a little finger happy, hit the wrong button there.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. Close that box. All right. The Olympics, like I said, have started in Tokyo. The Tokyo 2020 Olympics, they still go by. A lot of people go, why don't you change it to 2021? It's 2021 now. These were supposed to be 2020. The Olympics being every 2 years, summer every 4, winter every 4. They're still keeping the even number things like that. And also Tokyo had a lot of stuff like a lot of websites they'd signed up for with Tokyo 2020 and all this, so they didn't want to mess with changing any of that. So everything that happens now that you're watching in July of 2021 will be listed as the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Just another thing in the last 18 months that have screwed up society. So we're kind of used to it, I think, in a way. It doesn't shock me that much. To start a little NASCAR news here. NASCAR this weekend is the Go Bowling at the Glen. Watkins Glen International is a road course. It's 90 laps, 220.5 miles. So it's not your basic 4 left turns like everybody always makes fun of for NASCAR. It's a road course. Sunday, 3 o'clock Eastern on NBCSN. You'll see it there. That's August 8th, so it's in 2 weeks. Not this week, 2 weeks, I'm sorry. Because of the Olympics, they'll take it off, so you got to August 8th. But that's that. Now, last week, here's what the bottom half of the standings looked like for NASCAR. Like we said before, you win and you're in. You see that line there at number 16 in the yellow column or gold column. You win and you're in, and the rest are based on points. You see Austin Dillon had a 104-point lead on that last place there. Or Tyler Reddick, 96-point lead. So some guys had pretty comfortable leads right there. But last week's race was rain shortened, and Eric Almirola won it. Wait, I don't see Eric Almirola on here because he was down like in 24th. So here's this week. There's Eric up there. And now Austin Dillon's 5 points out of being in the race for the championship. So winning you're in is the big deal here. Yes, points help, but Austin Dillon went from a nice big lead to being 5 points out of the situation. So at the Glen coming up in a couple weeks could be a very important one for him and for Bouchard and for Matty D and for all those other guys down there. They can win, and boom, they push Tyler Reddick out then. So gets fun now for NASCAR fans to watch all this stuff. Major League Baseball, I'm going to the standings here. I see Boston down to a 1-game lead over Tampa Bay, who acquired Nelson Cruz over the weekend. And Tampa Bay that made some other trades too and got rid of some guys, which had people kind of scratching their head going, well, why would they get rid of them if they're in the pennant race? My opinion is Nelson Cruz is loving it in Tampa. He's already hit a home run there. And he's going, I get to play Baltimore a handful of times a year. I could go to Boston and hit them over the wall more often every year. I get to play in a dome half my games. I think you're going to see Tampa kind of cut guys they didn't plan on having next year that have big contracts so they can re-sign Nelson Cruz. My opinion. Chi Sox walking away from it over the soon-to-be Guardians. Hilarious. Detroit's pulled up to third. They're kind of pulling away from the Twins there for that solid spot in third place there. And then, like I said, the Twins in Kansas City are just kind of waiting for their fantasy football draft, I think, or something. AL West, Houston, Oakland, Seattle, still those top three. Seattle's, 5 games or 6 games above 500 there. They're doing well. 3.5 out in the wild card, so they're not out of it yet. National League Mets up to a 4-game lead. Big series, like I said, right now with Atlanta this week. So that could either increase or decrease right there. That lead, that could be very scary. Milwaukee, sidetrack, congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks for their championship. Now the Brewers going to win. Wisconsin could be title town, like I said. You watch them. But Cincinnati, 6.5 out. Don't forget them. And in the West, as usual, Giants, Dodgers, Padres. Lead number changes a little bit, but it's basically be those three, I think, in that order, barring someone getting hurt, major catastrophe there. Here's the AL wild cards. Tampa and Oakland are your 2 wild card teams right now. Seattle only 3.5 out. Yankees and Toronto 4.5, 5 respectively. So they'll have to jump a few teams to get in. Toronto, again, like we said last week, can start playing home games here after the first. So we'll see if that helps them or not. National League wild card. The West Coast teams have it locked up. Cincinnati 6.5 out. That's gonna be a tough one. Even win their division, Cincinnati's gonna be tough. But I think they can make it exciting anyway. I'd like to see Cincinnati in, just kind of shake things up. So it's not a whole West Coast thing, but
Question, Andy.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned Toronto. When do they go back to playing home games? I didn't get that.
They could go back to Toronto first of the month.
August 1st?
August 1st, yep.
All right. It's some of the listeners weren't maybe not aware of that. So that's a key.
Yep.
They're playing all their games in Florida at the training site facility, right?
Yeah, the AAA club in
AAA.
Buffalo. The Buffalo site, yep.
Oh, at AAA in Buffalo, not down in
not in Miami, not in Florida, no.
So they are in Buffalo at the AAA facility. So now they're going to switch. And actually,
they just had their last homestand last week.
August.
This week against the Mets are at Citi Field, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes. So Buffalo and Toronto aren't that far apart. I mean, they're close. You can probably see Toronto from there, but yeah, they will be back at their home grounds coming up. Speaking of the Mets, the Metropolitans, they have a horse. It's a home run horse. It's a stuffed animal. The horse, Pete Alonso explained, was the idea of hitting coach Hugh Quantabaum, who was aware of as anyone of the Mets' first half power outage, in large part because of the injuries in nearly every single position player. The Mets had just 88 home runs after the All-Star break, tied with the Marlins for 26 in the majors. They've cut up. They're doing well home run wise. They have this home run horse that you got to go down and pet after a home run. It's kind of a thing Pete Alonso started. In fact, they didn't know they brought out the dugout there, and they caught the manager in the corner of his eye and kind of freaked him out. But hey, if it works, it's helping you win, and you're getting home runs by having a stuffed horse down there. Knock yourself out. And as you see the Mets, you think they're New York, you think they're mean. No, he's got shorts on him. He's dressed. So home run horse, after you come in the dugout, you shake hands and you got to go pet the horse.
Nice.
Here's the Mets schedule. Like I said, they got the Jays today. Then they got those 5 against the Braves, 3 against Cincinnati to end the homestand. And then they are at Miami for 4, at Philadelphia, then back home for the Nats and the Dodgers in a couple weeks. That should be a good series. Since Jacob deGrom is on the IR right now, or IL, so it's not going to be the Jacob deGrom Love Fest today. It's the Pete Alonso Love Fest today. A couple historic notes for Mr. Alonso. The 23rd. With his 2 home runs, including a 450-foot second deck shot in the 8th at City, Pete Alonso passed Gary Carter for 20th place on the Mets all-time home run list with 90. Up next is Cleo Jones in 19th place with 93 home runs. So Pete Alonso's in the top 20 Mets players. Now, on the 20th of July, Pete Alonso hit his 88th career home run in his 300th career game Tuesday. second most for an American League or National League history through the first 300 games of the career. Ron Howard of Philadelphia has the record with 91 homers through 31 games. Some trades the Mets have made this week. This is all off the Mets website. Today, in fact, the Mets announced they have acquired outfielder Mark Payton from the Cincinnati Reds in exchange for cash considerations. Payton will be sent to AAA Syracuse. In addition, the Mets transferred left-handed pitcher David Peterson to the 60-day injured list. Mets acquired left-handed pitcher Rich Hill. The Mets today announced they acquired Rich Hill from Tampa Bay. This was that other trade I was talking about. I don't think the Rays planned on keeping Hill after this season. Not that he's got a big contract, but you got some minor league guys for it. If the Rays feel comfortable with their pitching right now in the pennant race, you make room. Why would the Mets want an old guy like Rich Hill? He's left-handed. You could be left-handed and pitch to your 50 in this league. Ask Jamie Moyer. And then earlier this week, the Mets acquired Carlos Rincon. He would be in the minors for a while. They got to move some people around. The Mets are kind of starting to load up with some extra bodies here for the pennant race. Gopher Hockey. On this nice 90-degree day here, thought we'd talk a little Gopher Hockey. Their non-conference schedule came out. This is off the Gophers Twitter account. So you see the Alaska, October 2nd and 3rd. Mercyhurst, October 8th and 9th. St. Cloud State, the 15th of October on a home and home. Duluth, a home and home, end of October. Then the Sioux or Fighting Hawks, whatever they're called, end of November. I think it's Thanksgiving weekend, end of November there. Time for the soapbox. The Olympics are always followed by the Paralympics, which are for handicapped gentlemen and ladies. And that leads me to this fine young athlete here, Becca Myers. This is off Angie Graff's Twitter account. For those of you not watching on YouTube and listening, I'll read what it says here. It says, "This doesn't make any sense to me." This is Angie Graff speaking, a sports reporter. If the Paralympics cannot have their support resources with Paralympians can have their support resources with them, why have the games at all? Maryland Paralympic gold medalist Becca Myers just withdrew from the games. Myers, who was deaf and blind, was told that her personal care assistant, who was her mom, could not travel with her because of the COVID-19 restrictions. The U.S. Olympic Committee responded saying that we are heartbroken for athletes needing to making these decisions, whether about to compete or if they are unable to have their typical support resources at a majority international competition or major international competition. But our top priority is assuring the safety of our athletes, coaches, staff, and citizens of the host country. My opinion, this is crap. It's the Paralympics. She's an athlete. She needs her dog. She's deaf and blind. She can read lips, but in Tokyo right now, everyone's wearing a mask, so she won't be able to understand what they're saying by reading lips. Her dog helps her. She has some anxiety issues in that with new situations. And of course, being deaf and blind, she's going to need help getting to the dining hall, to this and that. The U.S. Olympic Committee says, well, we do have one person per team, per event. So like the swimmers have one person and this and that. Really, you got one person to help all these guys around in a foreign country for the Olympics. The Olympic Committee, the United States Olympic Committee, you've ruined it for this girl. This is her third Olympics, so at least she's had that experience already. She's a gold medalist. She was supposed to win gold again. She's a very talented athlete, very much of a sweetheart of a person. I've read some other stories on her coming up like on this here. Just kind of kills to hear this, that she doesn't want her mom to come with because she wants her mom to be there cheering on the crowd. She needs her mom there to help her with. That's her personal care assistant. It's not like there is something to compare this to. This is what these people need and how you're doing this or why you're doing this. Olympic Committee, I don't get it. You've just kind of ruined this girl's dreams and probably others too. This is the one story we heard of. Who knows how many other people from other countries have had this horrible problem. Some concerts coming up, things at Medina. The Oak Ridge Boys Friday, August 6th. There is no opening guest. Doors open at 7:30, show at 8:30. This event is a 21 plus event. Not that the Oak Ridge Boys are going to go blue on you or do anything else, but it's the Oak Ridge Boys. Probably because of the alcohol sales is why I'm saying it's a 21 plus event. The prices are there. Oak Ridge Boys, they were one of the first acts that had to cancel because of COVID last year. So a lot of these bands are starting to come back in. All right, Dan, get your pen and paper out. Get your calendar ready to start clearing dates. These next two are for you. Friday, September 17th. The Hype will be there with guest Heartless, a tribute to Heart. They'll be there Friday, September 17th. Now, Dan, you spend the night at the hotel next door because the next day is the Funky Brew Medina craft beer event.
Oh, really?
So there you go. 1 to 4 p.m., rain or shine.
On the 18th.
Yes, the next day. So you just spend the night.
Oh, it doesn't get any better. Rain or shine?
Yes.
I would go get information from the Funky Brews Facebook page.
Yes.
Oh, this I did not know at all. Well, see,
this is the
we're
third
here to
annual
educate. We're here to educate.
Yeah. We're here. That's why we're here. You can check either Funky Brew at MedinaEntertainment.com if you got questions. You can call the Medina Ticket Office, Funky Brew's Facebook page. We'll have a link on our page coming up this week too on it. VIP tickets include an early admission, even a commemorative T-shirt, a program, a sample cup, and a snack. Dan, a snack.
Wow, this is too
free
good
parking.
to be true.
Yeah, Christmas in September, call it.
Christmas come early, my friend.
Yes, tickets go on sale, or they've been on sale since Monday, June 21st. So they're on sale. Get them while they're hot. So you go to the Heartless. Hype and Heartless.
Designated drivers will not be allowed to taste any of the alcoholic beverages.
No.
Good rule.
Good rule. Yep.
Good, I guess. Fair enough.
You go for Hype and Heartless the night before. You spend the night at the hotel there. You get up the next day. Boom.
Wow, that's awesome.
So there.
That's a win-win.
That's an early Christmas present for you right there. Dan's mom, you're listening. This is what you get him for Christmas. Get it early. He will love you.
Please. Yes, please. That's awesome.
Person of the week is Jani Lane. There's a picture of Jani when he was in Warrant, and then, of course, towards the end of his life there with the no hairspray hair. Jani Lane, of course, was the lead singer of Warrant. Born John Kennedy Oswald, February 1st, 1964. Passed away August 11th of 2011. He was a lead singer, frontman, songwriter for what they call the glam metal group Warrant. He was with them from 89 to 96, helped them with about 5 albums, over 10 million sales. He left the band in 2004, did a brief reunion in 2008, left again. Like most bands at that time, did his solo career. Saints of the Underground was a band he was with. So he had a pretty decent career. I loved a lot of Warrant stuff. I think he was a very talented writer. His time with Warrant, after generating notoriety in the club circuit, Warrant began to attract the attention of record labels. Following the abusive deal with A&M Records over the contribution to the soundtrack for the motion picture Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the band signed with Columbia Records. The Columbia deal came with a partnership of Warrant and manager Tom Hewlett, known for working with the Beach Boys, Elvis Presley, the Moody Blues, and others. Tom and Jani Lane became best of friends until Tom passed away of cancer in 1993. As lead vocalist for Warrant, Jani Lane wrote all the material for the band's 1989 debut album, platinum album, Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, Stinkin' Rich, which included 4 top 40 hit singles, Down Boys, Sometimes She Cries, Big Talk, which was my favorite song on that album, and the number 2 hit on the Billboard 100, Heaven. The album peaked at number 10 on the Billboard 200. Jani Lane also wrote 4 top 40 singles, Cherry Pie, I Saw Red, Uncle Tom's Cabin, and Blind Faith for their second album, the 1990 double platinum Cherry Pie, which peaked at number 7 on Billboard 2000. He also co-wrote the song The Power for the 1992 movie Gladiator. Going back to the album Cherry Pie, I've heard interviews with Jani Lane, and this was after time had gone on by, not recently, so he had time to stew about this and think about it. When Cherry Pie came out, and if you see the video for it, they intended for Uncle Tom's Cabin to be a TV movie or a movie, something based on that. The album was supposed to be called Uncle Tom's Cabin. They said, the record company came back and said, we need one more song. We need one more song. So he threw together Cherry Pie. That's what they named it. He didn't like the song that much. I'm sure he liked the money it came from. In fact, he liked it so much, the gal in the video he ended up marrying for a while. So,
Oh, really? That's how.
so you throw together a song real quick that you don't like, and you end up meeting a wife. So,
Wow.
so be careful about those songs you don't like when you write them, guys. You never know. You never know. He had personal issues with Warrant back and forth. He did a solo career like most people do. He was also on MTV, had a show about celebrity weight loss. He was on there, confronted his demons on there. Celebrity Fit Club 2 in 2005. I've always been a fan of Jani Lane. I kind of just some about him, his song style is kind of like with Tom Kiefer Cinderella. There's something separate about him. Is kind of, I think he's in his own class. Not saying he's better than anyone else, but just their music was a little different than the rest of the hair bands. To me, something kind of stuck out. He wasn't real bluesy like Tom Kiefer and Cinderella were, or some of those other bands, but they just sounded better. They had more harmony, better harmony with the band. There was a real good. They sounded great together. Yeah, there were videos that did the cheesy choreography stuff, just like Poison did, but I think they kind of did the glam thing for the attention, for the sales. I think it was up to him. They'd just be a regular rock and roll band like an REO Speedwagon or something like that. But hey, you got to do what you got to do to sell albums. I've never heard anyone say a bad thing about him, like he was a jerk or an idiot or this or that or egomaniac. I've never heard bad things about him. Not saying there isn't any out there. I'm sure someone had a beef with him. I never heard any of it. The whole band I was just kind of liked. I thought they seemed very decent. August 11th, 2011 is when Jani Lane passed away. Los Angeles Police Department and local news stations announced that Lane was found dead of acute alcohol poisoning at a Comfort Inn hotel in Woodland Hills. At the age of 47, Lane was pronounced dead by the fire department, who responded to a call shortly after 5:30 p.m. The public memorial concert was performed by Great White, Quiet Riot, and LA Guns, held August 29th at the Key Club in Hollywood. So Jani battled those demons his whole life. And again, I'm not taking away from good, bad, or indifferent on that. We all got our issues. I just always kind of had I don't know, I guess at that time, I don't want to say idolize again, just something about their music I loved. And if you just really go back and listen to it, listen to all the stuff, because he wrote and performed and did the lyrics and all that for all those songs. They're all different. A lot of times you can hear a guy, I wrote all the songs in the album. They all kind of sound the same. They don't. Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, and Cherry Pie and Dog Eat Dog, their third album. They all sound different, but you all know they're Warrant. They all got that sound to it. Jani's lyrics, his vocals were just incredible. They held up throughout the years. I really wish he was still around today, because I'd love to hear what he'd be doing today musically. His styles, he would have kept up with it if he'd still be recording today. I don't know. It'd be fun to find out, if he would. But that's what I got on our friend Jani Lane from Warrant. He is missed. Like I said, August 11th is when he passed away. I kind of did it early because I kind of got a different set of things for August coming up for people of the week, things of the week. So, but that is my bit for today's show. But before we continue on, we need an answer to the trivia question, which I gave earlier if you were paying attention.
If you're paying attention, the answer was given actually during Andy's segment of the show. The trivia question was, what former Twins starting pitcher, was traded this past week? The answer is Rich Hill. With the Twins for one season. Spent one season last year with the Twins. Former Dodgers pitcher, and he's bounced around. But he was traded this last week to the Mets. And so once again, a left-handed starting pitcher, not many of those around, and they can keep keep on playing. He's older guy in his 40s, right?
Yeah, he was like 6-4 in the year, 3 ERA. But the Mets rotation, Cookie doesn't come back 100%. Syndergaard don't come back. So we got a lot of guys going good for the Mets, but they're all right-handed. There's some looks at when everybody comes back, the Mets might even have a 6 or 7 man rotation, just for simple fact gives DeGrom a little extra rest. You're not putting a lot of pressure on Cookie and Syndergaard coming back too hard. TJ Walker's still young. You don't want to burn him out. Stroman. So, he's good for eating some innings, but you don't want to rely on him eating innings all the time too. So I like the idea of a 6-man rotation towards the end because it gets everybody rested up for the playoffs. So when the playoffs come, you can cut it to a 4-man bit. I remember looking back, the Twins in 87. You were a 3-man rotation when you hit the playoffs because Viola pitched 4 games, 1, 4, and 7. That's what you did. You went to a 3-man rotation, and that was that. But now with playoff expansion and everything else, ta-da, you got to go 4 or 5. And just talking about sign of the times for changes. I mentioned earlier, congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks on winning the championship. This year in the playoffs, because of the format, the Milwaukee Bucks won 16 games in the playoffs. In Giannis's rookie season with the Bucks, they won 15 games. So all you really bad teams that get a stud, ride them out, let it play through. They did it with Giannis. They got him the help. They went from a 15-win season to a 16-win June and July, and you're world champions. So patience, folks, patience. That's what I got, sir. Do you have any other baseball notes on the Twins? I kind of skipped the Twins this week. I was kind of Mets heavy on that. With the trade deadline, I was kind of watching a lot of their stuff and was not paying attention to the local club.
Well, I've got the a little coverage here on the Twins trade, pros and cons for the Nelson Cruz trade. Some people like it, some people don't. He was signed this last year to be the DH for $13 million. He'll obviously be done after this for the Twins for sure. But now with the trade, like I said, they may sign him on another year. I think he's getting up there, and the value isn't there to be paying out that much. But what the Twins got in return is what doesn't get talked about. Twins are looking for pitching, right? Starting pitching. Yep. Well, look who we got. 2 Rays pitchers in AAA. Now, Tampa Bay Rays have the #1 farm system in all of baseball, the best farm system in the game. And so I think that's what also interested the Twins GM working out this deal to send them there, because they knew we'd get a couple of guys good in return. We got 2 starting pitchers, both right-handed. Drew Strotman, #1 Drew, 24 years old, was a 4th-round pick for the Rays back in 2017. He's 7-2 this year with a 3.39 ERA after 12 starts. So solid guy already at AAA. So now we may see him already here with the Saints coming up this weekend and the next week, possibly making a start. Yep. And this would be a guy that could finish out the year in AAA and start next year in the rotation already. They may bring him up as a September call-up. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
But they also have a 25-year-old Joe Ryan, who might be better as right-handed starting pitcher. He was drafted out of high school in the 39th round. He said, no thanks. I'm not interested. I'll go to college. Went to college and was drafted in the 7th round. So we got a 4th round pick and a 7th round pick from the Rays. This guy, after 11 starts this year, is only 4-3 in his win-loss record. It's not too reflective, I don't think, but busy playing for United States USA baseball and is on the Olympic team. Joe Ryan is on the Olympic baseball team for USA. So if you get a chance to watch a future Twin in the Olympics, take a look for Joe Ryan. He's a stud right-handed pitcher, 25 years old. And like I said, the Twins gave up Nelson Cruz and a minor leaguer by the name of Calvin Fulcher, I think his name, 25 years old, was a former 10th round pick by the Twins, middle reliever, on and off again, hurt. But I think that's a very fun trade. Now, it also opens up for the remainder of the season this year for the Twins to have using alternate DHs now. And so we saw the Twins brought up Brent Rooker this week, put him there one night, used Josh Donaldson there one night. We got a bunch of these extra catchers. We can always plug and play a DH from these guys that are normally sitting on the bench, and instead of using Nelson Cruz every single game. So I think it'll be interesting to watch the rest of the season with the Twins.
With them picking up those two pitchers from the Devil Rays, do you think this puts easier for them to trade Barrios then?
Well, it could, because both
you've got
one or two of these guys that are going to be coming up in major league rotation, which may sign, end the deal with Barrios or make him more expendable.
Yep.
Now we got J.Hay Happ, we got Shoemaker, we got these guys that have all kind of floundered this year, but we got Pineda, and so it'll be interesting to see who we've got. But I think in the future you got some young guys, and the Rays, like I said, had so many guys in their system, they didn't mind parting ways with a couple of these guys. So it'll be interesting, I think. Now, what did you hear anything about the New York Jets football? One of their coaches died in a bicycle.
Passed away, yes.
What happened with that?
I just heard a bicycle accident. Fell and complications from said accident. I've really never heard more or less. If it was if he was in the wrong or what happened, how it happened. I figured if it was something awful like that, the media would have been all over it.
Okay.
I did hear about one Viking coach who won't be back because he refuses to get the shot. So the Vikings are minus a coordinator right now. But will that change? Will things happen as we get closer to camp? As of right now, he is not welcome back. I don't think they've eventually said he's fired or out of a job. They're just saying you can't be around the team to get the shot. Can he do meetings via Zoom like this with the staff and have someone else there? Can he still put input? I don't know. I haven't heard. I think they just thought, well, if you don't get the shot, you're not on here. And he's kind of like, okay. And they're just kind of staring at each other. I think once, I'm not going to give, are you going to give type of situation, I think we'll see what's going to happen if the NFL is going to step in and say something. Okay, if he's not there, is he still on the payroll? Is he out of a job? What's the situation? The NFL did also announce this week that if you don't have enough players and you got to forfeit a game, we're not going to reschedule games like last year. You lose. Like me and the boys at work were talking because, everybody at work in the lunchroom, we solve all world problems there. Okay, say this game that's going to be canceled, but it's, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady, or it's the Patriots or the Chiefs or the Packers. You still let them cancel that game and be a forfeit? It's your big Monday night game or your Thursday night games that still be a cancel. Or if you make the playoffs or win your division by one game because you got that forfeit win. Let's see how that pans out this year. Keep track of those games. If even like a team with the Jaguars with young Mr. Trevor Lawrence as quarterback there, phenom. But they win or lose a game because of that. But wait, that's game not on TV now. Everybody wants to watch the young phenom. You going to reschedule that game? You're going to make that team go, geez, I know you're short players. You only got 58 guys instead. Lace them up. Let's go. Let's see what happens. I haven't heard if the NFL will loosen the straps on that a little bit on signing free agents real quick and stuff like that, or trades, things like that situation. But calling guys up for the practice squad last minute, how they're going to work stuff like that. Maybe you don't want just some guy who's a body in your practice squad. You want him to be a legit decent player, that you can call up. Not going, you got a practice squad. You almost got a full team on practice squad. How can you not have enough guys? I always kind of figured that one of that last year too. Because remember last year there was a couple times where, the Steelers kept getting games changed all the time, and they were like 12-0 to start the year. Funny. You're 7-0, 8-0. You got to cancel a game because of COVID. They're going to cut you a break.
It may come to play.
Hey, we're on Monday night too. Let's play Monday.
It may come into, we talk about the XFL and
Yeah.
possibly merging with the Canadian Football League. And
Yeah.
then you get the USFL making a statement saying they're going to come back next year now and regroup and have another football league. And so would those all combine one day and form a minor league farm system in football?
Right.
Instead of being their own leagues, would that come? And then you can call up a guy from your farm system or something. You know, that's what that all could lead to, because we're seeing all these teams wanting to join together and these organizations wanting to get these football groups back. And maybe that's what we see. Who knows?
Yeah. And, you know, XFL, Canada, and also other stuff come with their teams. I'd like to see that all kind of be fun. But not have like the Vikings have their own team in the minors. It's a minor league. You can draw from not anyone. You got to kind of have your limits on there. I know when they had the European Football League, like 3 NFL teams had one team in the European League, you know.
And they play in the spring as well, so the timing would work. Well,
yeah. I know the Canadian Football League will be starting up soon here. They started a little bit earlier than us. And speaking of XFL, not to be confused, like I mentioned earlier, the Cleveland Indians will have a new name next year. The Major League Baseball was not telling them to change their name. They were just avoiding the Christmas rush, I think. They didn't want to go by Cleveland Baseball Team like the Washington Football Team did. So they're going by the Guardians.
They'll be the Guardians.
When I first saw that, I had to look twice on Facebook to make sure it wasn't like from the Onion or something like that. Because I thought Guardians. Now, I thought to myself, I thought that would be an XFL name. That'd be something Vince McMahon would put on an XFL team. Oops, he already did. You know, there is an XFL team called the Guardians. And if you look at their logo, it kind of looks like the Los Angeles Angels logo. It's kind of the same type of deal. I guess I read a couple articles. It's got something to do with Cleveland's, the port cities, and we guard everybody and da-da-da-da-da. But we here at Sports and Songs on our Twitter account are trying to start the hashtag Dians, D-I-A-N-S. Old school Indians fans can still call them the Dians. Kind of like the Nats instead of the Nationals. Or the Rays instead of the Devil Rays. Which they officially dropped Devil after a couple years ago. They go by just the Rays now.
Yes.
Basketball. The full name is the Philadelphia 76ers. Everybody calls them just the Sixers. It's really the Timberwolves, not just the Wolves. But everybody just calls them the Wolves, which is cool. That's fine. But when you're mad at them, you use their full name, Timberwolves. Like, my wife is mad at me. It's Andrew, not Andy. So the Dians. Hey, the Dians are playing. They're in town. So we'll see. See if that catches on, because we will take full credit for it.
Exactly. I got two other notes in sports before we get to the album.
Yes.
Now, minor league baseball in AAA. AAA has announced they're going to play 5 more games at the end of the season. 5 more games, or no, what was it? 10. It might be 10. I got my notes goofy. When the season ends, before the playoffs start, they're going to play a 5-game series, I think, on the road, and then another 5-game series at home for the final 10 to push the season out a little bit. They're calling it the final stretch. Now, I don't know if they're doing this because they pushed off the first month of the season.
Right, so maybe making up those games, yeah.
It could be an attempt to make that up a little bit, or to get some more, fans, seats in the crowd to get there. But they're going to push out they're going to call it a final stretch. For those of you who are following AAA baseball, thinking the season is going to be coming to an end here too soon, we got a couple more series, a 5-game series and another 5-game series. 10 more games they're adding to everybody. Now, amateur baseball wraps up in the Pro River Valley League tomorrow on Sunday. All 14 teams play. Playoffs will be starting, I believe, on Tuesday. Some of his other leagues, the playoffs have already started, but it's going to get pretty interesting. I covered it in my midweek show this week, all the various leagues and when the playoffs start, when the regular season ends. It's going to be pretty interesting. Now, one team in particular in Class C amateur baseball, the Cold Spring Rockies, they have a pitcher named Ryan Hennon. no relation. Ryan Hennon is one of their top pitchers, took them to the state last year. He was a local Cold Spring kid, went to Rocori, played college ball at University of North Carolina, Greensboro. Now he's playing in a summer league, can't play amateur this season. He's playing in the Frontier League for a team called the Washington Wild Things.
Wow.
Frontier League. It's an independent league, much like the Saints used to be in the past, but he's leading the league, the entire league, in wins, lowest ERA, and is second or third in the league in strikeouts. Well, he's eating up that league, and now word is on the street that he could be signed to a big league pro contract. Possibly the Chicago Cubs may sign him as early as this next week, and they'll sign him to their minor leagues. But he's doing really well. He's got 6-2 record. His ERA is 2.10.
Wow.
After I think 12 starts and that's a Frontier League, independent baseball, but he plays for the Cold Spring Rockies. Look for them. They're always tough, but they won't have him this year in the postseason. But if they don't sign him, I think he's scheduled to pitch tonight. They have a 6:30 game against the New York Boulders. The Boulders against the Wild Things. So that could be coming up. Now we got the album of the week review here. I'll cover that here as well.
A fan request.
Here we go. The recording this week, album of the week is Gordon Lightfoot. Gordon Lightfoot. It's called Sundown. I'm going to share the screen here. That'll be the album week album review here. I'm going to share my screen. Here it is. A classic folk.
There it is.
Folk singer. This was 1974. This album was released. And he is, of course, let's see. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. Lightfoot. I've got another screen I'm going to pull up here in the meantime. He's a Canadian singer, Gordon Lightfoot. His 10th original album, released in 74, reached number 1 on the pop charts. The album marked the pinnacle of Lightfoot's acoustic folk country blend before he embarked on an increasing use of electrical instruments, although he did include some electric guitar on the title track. Here's a listing. Song 1, Somewhere USA. Song 2, High and Dry. Song 3, Seven Island Suite. Song 4, Circle of Steel. Song 5 is there anyone home? Now, second side. Song 1 on side 2 on the LP is The Watchman's Gone. Song 2, Sun Down on the second side. That's the title track. Next song is Carefree Highway. Carefree Highway actually relates to a section of the Arizona State Freeway, Highway Route 74. There's a section called Carefree Highway. He named the song after that. The lyrics also involve the former relationship he had with a woman named Anne. That's what that song is about. And the last 2 songs are The List and Too Late for Praying. Too Late for Praying. So that is the album there this week. That's all I've got for that. There's nothing more, I don't think, for the episode today.
One other thing, I was going through I saw a brief thing.
Came in on a request, by the way. We had a request, so we can still bring your requests in. Leave them in the comment section.
Yes. I saw one other note before the show started, going through some things. A-ball for baseball is going to work on a little device that's about the size of an old, like a pager. The old pagers we used to have back in the day, something that size, where the catchers can get to the pitcher what they want to do for the pitch, kind of speed up the game. Now, one thing I've always found confusing on that, and you being a man who plays the game, you can help me on this and figure out why.
Say that. Repeat the question again.
I see a lot of ball players nowadays, they have like a little cheat sheet on their arm, outfielders and that, or a card to keep in their hat to see what their alignments are supposed to be. Why can't the pitcher just get the pitch sign from the dugout? Why does the guy have to go from the dugout to the catcher to pitcher? Why can't the pitcher just get it straight from the dugout and speed it up that way?
Well, I think the scenario for like the outfielders and the player positions is where to stand or where to be positioned during that entire at bat.
Right.
And the pitcher and catcher are communicating between every single pitch. They're
Right.
how they want to pitch the guy, but not the sequence. So I think it's different from that perspective. And the catcher will bring in
I suppose the
defensive alignment, how they're going to do it too, on how
he stands up and does his bit, lays a hand over whatever. Yep. All right.
so I think that's got something to do with it, but I've not been a pitcher or catcher, so I can't talk too much on it.
I wonder how long before they have those two mic'd up to the manager just to speed that up. Mic up the pitcher and the catcher and the manager. Kind of do in football, just tell them. I mean, small enough earwigs now, you can do it. But you never know if there's an issue with that or something. You got to go back to the old school. But there's going to be some kind of modern way they can speed this up.
True. All right, we got an event here coming in, starting for dinner, it looks like. So I've got nothing more for tonight. We'll see you guys next week then.
Next week, Tuesday or Wednesdays for Dan's show, my page 2 on Thursdays.
Sounds good.
See you guys later.
Sounds good. Have a good week.
Bye.